Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the WrestleSense podcast. We took a little break last week, but we're back, and we got a lot of shit to talk about. We got a lot of things to cover here tonight. A lot of stuff going on in the regular wrestling world as well as what we want to talk about. But I'm going to welcome everyone here. We got Wally in the building real quick. Wally, Kelly's in the house. Good to see you. Cody Hagen's in the house. Good to see you, my friend. PFW. Raven in the building, live as well, coming over. Raven, thank you so much for stopping in. Good to see you. Erica's Nightmare in the building. Woo! Hey now, good to see you, everybody. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And sit back. We're going to talk some wrestling news with me and the boys. Let's bring them all back on. Hey, what's going on, CJ? Welcome in.
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing as well as I can be. How's that?
Yeah.
That's what we all do.
There.
Well, we're going to try to breeze through this and get shit popping here. We got Shadow Press in the house. Great to see you, my friend. So let's bring on the other dudes here. Big Ray is in the building. What's happening, man? Good to see you.
What up?
People busy at work here. Let's see. We got Easy E working as well. Working for a living. You guys are gluttons for punishment, aren't you?
Well, somebody got to play for the Royal Rumble, and that would be me.
There you go.
I was starting to get worried about you. I future endeavored you 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, I'm back. I'm unreleased myself. And welcome, Doc. What's happening?
What's going on?
Save the best for last, of course. Good to see you, everybody. Wally's happy to see everybody.
I'm just upset everybody else got a shout out from Wally but me.
Yeah, Wally's not a fan. Not a fan. He's sorry.
You know why? Because I tell the truth.
your truth. Yes, you do tell your
truth.
I
just gotta bring in the champ.
Bodie's in the house. Big shout out to Bodie. What's that?
That is his medal from the wrestling tournament, and of course his belt that Uncle Ray bought him.
Yeah, he's won more titles than Doc ever won.
Nice. That's a very nice belt. I wonder where you got that from.
I just said his Uncle Ray. Did you not hear me? Miracle your call.
I just wanted you to say it again.
Here, do you need these more than I do?
Yes, I do. Thanks.
All right.
There's a laugh track for you for your comedy. Well, since we're showing stuff off, I got to show something off.
Got to put you over, kid. Love you.
I just got this in the mail here. So the AEW cards, fresh off the press. I got myself an uncut sheet.
Nice.
Now
leave it that way.
The only thing they came out with are hobby boxes for $200, so I ain't buying those just yet. But I got this little gem off line here. As soon as they come out with regular packs, cards aren't like they used to be. We can go into any regular store and get them anymore. But
did they even have like sports card stores anymore?
Nah, you just get them at regular stores, Walgreens and CVS and shit like that.
Yeah, but those AEW cards are going to get worse than the UFC debacle, than the what else?
First run cards.
The Pokemon. It's going to be like the figures all over again.
That's why I figured
people buying them, slanging them for.
Yeah, but
who would do something? Who would buy toys and cards?
I don't know.
Toys and cards and sell.
I don't know.
I currently have a box earmarked for Logan Paul.
There you go. He printed them out on that printer right behind him. So of course, if you don't know, Logan Paul bought like $3 million worth of
$3.5 million worth of Pokemon cards.
I seen that. I wasn't sure if that was
he opened them. He was so pissed. That was hilarious. But let's jump right into it, man. Let's not piss around. We're gonna get into the Six Senses, which is the wrestling's greatest heel turns, and we'll get in depth with those. We're gonna breeze through a shitload of news and what's going down in wrestling today, starting with Make Sense of It. Cody Hagen brought up that 2K22 did come out today for pre-orders. We'll talk about that in a little while. I have a slide to show, and we'll talk about the release of the game that looks to be able to make up for a lot of shit that went down in the last couple games and the missing of one last year. So we'll talk about We'll talk about the video. Well, we might as well. Let's just cover it now while we can. Let's just hit it now while we're breezing through. This is what came out today, the standard edition, and these are euros, so these are European pricing. But starting NWO for Life is $120, the deluxe is $100, and the regular versions I think are $60 or something like that, $50 or $60. But the big deal is the fact that it's a redesigned engine. They have a lot of additions that people have been waiting for, and cross-platform, which means if you created a character on Xbox, you can download it on PlayStation and vice versa, which a lot of people have been waiting for stuff like that. The pre-order bonuses, you get the Undertaker Immortal Pack with the Deluxe, and then the NWO for Life, which ties into the My Faction mode this year in the game. So a lot of cool stuff with the game this year. If you've seen the trailers, the graphics are amazing. Doc, I know you're into the game pretty much. What do you think about what we've seen so far?
I mean, it looks amazing, but the thing is, like, so did 21. Or not 21, but so did 20. Pardon me. Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna get it. I get them all. I'm really debating the NWO for Life one.
I just want to know if Vincent gets his cut of the fuck money from the NWO.
I doubt it.
Get that fucking meat sauce.
That meat sauce fuck money, man. You gotta love it.
Well, I don't play the game is why I bought the highest one, because I want all the extra things you get, because I don't want to play it to get extra things. But if they do have a mode where you got to play it to win extra gear, I got someone that's going to do it for me this time around. But it comes out March 8th for the pre-orders, 11th for the regular ones. But I'm sure more news will come out. And I know a lot of the people in the live chat are gamers and people that play this religiously and have already pre-ordered. So I wanted to at least cover it a little bit. Monstar's in the house. He's one for sure that'll do streams. Andy Price, Cody already pre-ordered, counting down the games. He's counting down the days. And but it'll be exciting, and I'll definitely be streaming it here, and we'll talk a lot more about
Yeah, but here's the other thing, Blaze.
Go ahead.
Something you're not talking about. Usually, and I know this for a fact because it's happened the last couple of years that they've had this game.
Don't even have
Usually about a week after they announce these ones, then they have an edition that has a signed copy. It's usually $199, you know, and then I get pissed off because I bought the $129 version, and then the $199 version comes out, and EJ wants that.
Yeah,
you know, 1 year John Cena, 1 year Undertaker.
The Rey Mysterio Starcade pack that's included in these is only for PlayStation 5 and Xbox One. And you're right, they haven't added anything like they did like a Ric Flair robe 1 year when you buy it extra.
No, I'm talking the actual pieces. Like we actually have Undertaker signed things or ring apron signed by John Cena. They had the casket 1 year for the Undertaker that came out was a special tin.
What, like, you got like a piece of the casket?
Yeah.
I'm sure
WWE does stupid shit with this game. And it never makes sense because it tries to get you to buy. Okay,
there's no collector's edition this year from what we heard. But like you said, E, it could, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out something later. Now they do DLCs where they're going to drop more stuff later. And I did hear the fact that if people were scanned before SummerSlam, they'll still be in it. So you might see a Keith Lee, you might see a Karrion Kross, you might you might see a Jeff Hardy,
Bearcat Lee.
You might see a Jeff Hardy. You know, you might see a Gargano who we might be talking about in a week or two somewhere else. So
what I'm wondering about it is this has been the gateway for years for people to come back and make some sort of return. Yeah. We saw that was how the Warrior bridged the gap back to WWE, Goldberg, Sting. So with them releasing this NWO thing, is there going to be some kind of tie-in, some kind of NWO reunion?
No, maybe it's the MSK.
Nash comes back and manages a faction.
Well, here's the thing, Ray. It's tied into there's a My Faction mode where you build your own faction in an attempt to try to battle and beat all the way up to fight the NWO. Now, whether they do bring a couple of them back, like you're saying, would make total sense right now because to promote the game.
With the exception of the fact that none of them can work at this point in their career.
Now,
Sean Waltman's been talking about tagging with MSK on Twitter for what, 3 months now?
See you, Mike.
I did see the Waltman was cleared now.
Oh, was
Nash Nash did show up at GCW last week as well. He just did the talk, you know, everything. But
I mean,
but that's a
wrestling. Never say never.
Yeah, and that's a good lead-in because the first thing I'll make a sense of it is the Royal Rumble. We'll talk more about it next week and get some predictions. But the forbidden door was open with Mickie James.
Yes, it was.
I don't think it was. I think the reason that I've heard was they needed women. So the reason
they had 20 on the roster.
I mean, regardless,
that's why they've announced Summer Rae. They've announced these people that would normally be surprises.
Yeah.
But they're announcing them now just because they don't have the women to fill out the roster.
The thing that would surprise me if she shows up with the belt. If she shows up with the Impact belt,
I think she walks out there with the Impact belt.
That would be a little bit over.
If I was Impact and giving her permission to do it, that would be one of the caveats.
Right.
Yes.
Here's the thing, guys.
I think she comes down with a trash bag. That would be great.
Yeah. When they announced her, you guys know, I'll tell everybody, I'm going to the Rumble. I leave Thursday night to go to St. Louis. And when they announced her, I was waiting to buy tickets. I didn't even know she was going to be announced. I was waiting. I was holding off, trying to see if they do the lower seats for cheaper. They announced her. Tickets started going nuts. Like, they were going nowhere. There's seats here. There's seats there. I ended up finding 5 seats in the upper deck. They're not that great, but you can't see anything in a 75,000 seat stadium anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You're there for the experience.
Yeah.
But as soon as they announced her, the groups of 4s and 5s and 6s are gone. So it did boost ticket sales.
Yeah,
and I can tell you for a fact.
I think that's part of the lure too. If they get 1 or 2 names you didn't expect, people are going to say, "Oh my God, who else is going to come from Impact? Who else?
Right.
What AEW guys?" And I'll tell you right now, and correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll stand here and say I'm wrong. John Moxley ain't showing up. Cody Rhodes ain't showing up in the fucking Rumble.
If there is another deal, it's going to be from Impact, and it's going to be a letdown.
Moose.
Well, actually, the person I could see. The person I could see the most pop from Impact would be Wes Morrissey. Yeah, Big Cass.
Yeah.
However,
Rhino they could bring back.
I feel like it's going to be Heath. I feel like if there's going to be a surprise from Impact, it's going to be Heath because he left on good terms. They brought him back to the storyline with McIntyre. If they want a surprise little pop, that would be in my opinion,
Moose's promo was the best promo anybody has ever cut. And if you haven't seen it, I'll find it so Blaze can share it.
It's reason for them to consider when you sign Impact, someone from Impact, why not start chiming off if you're on Impact? But there's some people in Impact that probably don't want nothing to do with WWE at the same time. But I don't think the forbidden door is
my whole
open.
Thing's going to be where's it going to go? Like if you bring Cass back, then people are going to start clamoring for that. If you bring somebody like Moose in, everybody's going to be running wild. Everybody's going to want to do something, and WWE's not going to want to work with him.
No, it's going to, like you said, it's going to be a one-off.
You know what I mean?
See, this is the type of talk Kenny Omega. No, it's not happening. No. Nobody that you're going to see on AEW TV is going to come over just for one Rumble and go back. It doesn't make business sense.
Well, Cody doesn't have a contract. That would be the only.
Now, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because they did announce he doesn't have a contract. He came out last night and dropped his little pipe bomb-esque promo, and
if you want to call
he hasn't had a contract for weeks. I think they saw what was going on with the Rumble and said, we're going to feed into it. Start telling everybody you're a free agent so the rumors start. And they were all over podcasts and Twitter. Yeah, he's coming back as Stardust. Cody's coming back.
No, that's not going to happen. And actually, in my opinion, what's going on is I have a feeling that Cody is not going to ever be under an AEW contract.
No.
I have a feeling that he's going to be under a Turner Media contract.
He said last night he considered it. They put something down and he considered it and he didn't sign it.
With his Go Big show, his other show,
Roads to the top.
That's true.
I have a feeling that Turner is going to foot part of the bill for his contract like they used to do in the old days for some of the big signings, the WCW. As long as it doesn't come with any crazy creative control things, then it's smart for AEW to do it if Turner's willing to pick up part of the money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, the other one to talk about Rumble surprises is what about Jericho? He was on the podcast.
He was on AEW TV last night. It ain't happening. If it's someone going back, I would say it would be Jericho eventually come back. But he's on AEW TV last night.
He's my pick.
He's not coming back.
He may not come back, but he may show up at the Rumble.
Why? Why would WWE want to do that and then let him go back to AEW TV? They're promoting AEW.
They did it with Stone Cold's podcast. Yes, he was under AEW's contract with.
They did it with a podcast. Will they do it on national TV with Fox or USA behind it? That's a different story to me.
Let's call a spade a spade, though. Let's call a spade a spade.
Jericho ain't showing up.
He barely talked about AEW on that podcast. It was more about him telling stories from the road. They didn't steer away from the AEW talk. But of that hour-long podcast that was aired and the 90-minute podcast that you could listen to, there was 4 minutes of AEW talk.
Yeah, but I mean, to still put that logo up on WWE programming.
See, this is what happens. All this fucking talk starts. The Young Bucks and Omega, no. Undertaker, probably not. Bautista,
Well, no,
no.
wait.
Maybe
wait,
Goldberg.
Wait. What
Wait.
The Undertaker said this week.
He could come out.
Is with Michelle McCool. Did you guys see this?
She's
No.
out.
Michelle
right?
wants her daughter to come out with her while she walks down, and they're saying the Undertaker will not miss this event. So does a few $1 million say, hey, Taker?
But then who's going to throw? They're going to have someone throw him out. Who? Omos. They got to get Omos over. Have him throw Undertaker out.
Yeah, that would actually
I
be.
wouldn't want that.
Get Veer. He's still coming to Raw. So
Yeah,
What
he's still
about
coming.
Walter? What about
So we'll
Walter?
get to that. We'll get to that. It's
Oh,
on the
yeah.
list. But
You mean
let's
Gunka?
talk about another possible surprise who is cleared to wrestle. He's been cleared for a while, and you guys know him as Corey Graves.
SJK.
yeah,
I know you guys
SJK.
know him as Sterling
SJK.
James.
He'll always be Keenan. to me,
Now
but
it makes sense that he was cleared whenever he did that bump to get the 24/7 title.
He
But
rolls
let me
somebody
tell
up.
me, will he get
I-
up from the
I will
announce table
tell
and come in the
you-
Rumble?
I will give you insider information. He called me the other day asking me to text Corey Graves, who is a personal friend, and try to get the scoop. Not because of the Rumble, but because we had a suspicion that maybe he would show up at CJ's home of IWC
Right.
as a surprise little pop, because that's one of his home feds, that brought him up, and we thought maybe he'd be getting ring rust off to do something with the Rumble. I was told, I love you, but don't hold your breath. That is a direct quote from the text message. I love you, but don't hold your
That's
breath.
good. I just think it would be pretty cool for his music.
My
He's
exact
like,
text to him was, hey, I saw you're cleared. Is there any chance you're in the Rumble? Or at least maybe you make a surprise pop-up at IWC this weekend, hint, hint.
yeah.
And I was told, I love you, but don't hold your breath.
That,
I'm hoping he's selling it because that would be hilarious for him to jump off
he
the
would-
commentary booth and go in.
I would hope, knowing him like we all do, he wouldn't tell you if he was or not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
That
wouldn't
too.
tell
I was
me.
gonna say that too.
He wouldn't tell me directly, but I think I would have got a more wink.
Well, we'll
I
find out
don't
on
know.
29.
He's pretty well. Yeah, we'll find out in a few
Yeah.
days. I'll let you
Yeah.
know about IWC.
Listen,
Yeah.
he comes to IWC, I'm kicking your ass. Shoulder and all, dude.
If he comes to
Shout out to
IWC,
Mr. Boat
I'm
in the
kicking his
building.
ass, because I said, if you're coming to IWC, I want to know because I want to come.
Wait, is that my Mr. Boat? If that's my Mr. Boat, what up, Boat?
Could be.
I'm
not
on a
sure. That's
boat.
new to the channel there.
There you go. Hey,
So,
you,
we'll
you guys,
definitely-
you know Boat, don't you, Ray? Boat Cartwright?
Maybe. Oh, yeah.
Boat right?
So we will get into the Rumble a little more next week, and probably do because we'll know more about. Well, there's Becky versus Doudrop, Edge and Beth versus Miz and Maurice, Lesnar, Lashley, Roman, Seth, and both Rumbles. That might be all there is. There's one. Two,
That's
three,
a
four,
really
five,
good
six,
lineup in my eyes. I think that's going to be it. I think it's a pretty
So
good.
we can talk a lot more about that next week because we got to get to all these heel turns. But first, we're going to talk just for a second about NXT and Walter/Gunther. So Ray, I know you wanted to get something about this out. No,
I just think it's stupid.
He wins the Rumble and shocks the world.
I think he's going to keep. They're going to keep him in
No.
NXT, is my
They're
opinion,
keep him
and
in
have him feud with Braun
Right.
probably.
Hey, Bo,
Why not let him
They're
win the
not bringing
Rumble and
anybody from
challenge the
NXT.
title?
I think NXT is more of
He
a separate
should-
brand now than it's been in a long time. They're trying
Watch
to make
this
it
guy.
develop
Stay in
now.
Guys, watch
NXT,
this, watch
at
this.
least until Braun.
watch it. You ready? What do you think about Walter changing his name to Gunther?
Stupid.
All right, thanks.
Well,
See ya.
here, let me play devil's advocate because I can look at the business sense of it and look at the history of them wanting to own the name. Walter's his real name. They want to own the name. Now, I'm so glad they didn't do Gunther Stark, and it's hard to believe that WWE, as a billion-dollar company, did not Google the damn name to find out that it's a Nazi commander, a U-boat commander from the past, and it's a name that will get a lot of heat.
Well,
Now,
look what
Heidenreich
JBL,
was
look what he
supposed to
did.
be Heidenreich was supposed to be an unfrozen Nazi back in the day. If they just changed that, took away from that.
Listen, there's no reason to change Walter's name, because when Walter leaves
Agreed.
WWE, if he wants to be Gunther, all
Money.
he does is change his first name or middle name to Gunther, and he keeps that name if he wants to.
I think it's money. I think it's just they want to own the name so Walter doesn't get any
The
residuals.
chance of Walter, the underground buzz of Walter, to throw that away is stupid.
Yes, I
The
agree.
Agreed.
name Gunther is stupid.
But
It
do they also
doesn't- it
think
doesn't
we're
have his-
stupid? Is that the key? They don't think that we knew that he was on NXT UK? Like, is it something that...
Right.
we're
Yeah,
supposed
that's
to
what I mean. You're supposed to
surprise?
forget about it. Yep.
Look,
Well,
I would love to see
He's
Walter
been on
in-
regular NXT programming also.
Yeah.
So that, how are you going to sit there
Well,
and
they showed
say,
Von Wagner on what was it, Raw or SmackDown? He was there standing there with what's his
Yeah,
name
they
for a
scrapped
second.
him after a week.
And then they got rid of him. But here's
supposed
my
to be
thing.
Adam Pierce's bodyguard, and then
And you guys can throw your
God.
2 cents in here before we go to 2 cents. This is the last thing. I watched NXT this week, and I'm seeing more and more of the stereotypical characters like old school WWE. You had Tito Santana, you had the Iron Sheik, you had every nationality was represented. And now you got Tony D'Angelo, Carmelo Hayes, Cameron Grimes is a hick. They got Saraya as an anime schoolgirl now. And then you got Gunther, who's he's not a German, he's Austrian playing a German, but it's close enough apparently. I just think they're testing the waters on who can sell their gimmick, who can ride out these stereotypes enough to sell to go to the main.
I can't get into NXT 2.0.
And
I
confusing
don't agree with you on the purpose of it. The purpose of it is this: they are too goddamn lazy to invest in making characters. So let's give people stereotypes and go the lazy way out.
Yep.
The booking with WWE is fucking atrocious. Unless your name is Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, which newsflash, those storylines are being written by Paul fucking Heyman. Right. Everything else in WWE is shit.
Yeah.
Not the in-ring work, not the guys. They got fucking talent out the ass. The
Right.
in-ring work, if they're given time, they can work amazing matches. Look at the Usos and look at, what they do with the New Day every single time they get in the ring. The workers are fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not their fault their saddle was shit.
Right.
Like, the bottom line is until they change the booking strategy, hiring TV writers, until they either open it up and let the characters be characters like AEW does and just give them a direction, or until they hire some writers who have a fucking clue what wrestling is, WWE is doomed.
And we all know that ain't happening.
And
anytime
WWE
soon.
doomed, and they're going to go out of business or anything.
No, it's never going to be.
still
No, it's not going
doomed
to be out of business. It's just
WWE
it's
is doomed from the marks. Other than that, they're still going to make a ton of money. They're going to sell a shit ton of merchandise, and they're going to sell out stadiums across the country.
It's all about money.
I don't disagree with you, E, in any way, shape, or form. However, it's opening the door for other companies.
It's really not. Like
it is, dude.
What are they doing? Okay, so AEW is selling out the Peterson Event Center. WWE is going to sell out where the St. Louis Rams play.
But are they?
Look, I'm
not comparing apples and oranges again. We can argue.
Yeah,
it's
two different things. But however,
WWE
and AEW have ran in the same venue, and it's gone back and forth with who sold more. The fact that AEW is even broaching that is ridiculous. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about the interest of the pure wrestling fan.
Right.
I get it.
That's not who they're looking for. I don't think they're marketing that. They don't care about wrestling fans.
I get that you want the casual fan. You want the kid money. You want all that. But when WWE was firing on all cylinders, when WWE was on the tip of the tongue of pop culture with everyone during the Attitude Era, is because it appealed to everybody. It appealed to hardcore wrestlers. It appealed to kids. It appealed to casual fans. It appealed to everything. And right now, what WWE is basically doing is saying, fuck you, wrestling fans. I don't care what you think. And they're only going for that other money. And as long as any company, I don't care who it is, AEW veers too hard towards the smart marks.
Sorry.
It's coming. It's coming.
Too hard towards the hardcore wrestling fans to be a truly mainstream, needle moving, if you want to say that, whatever.
Who's coming first, Wyndham or Veer? Who's going to come
first?
For me,
I think that's why I'm obviously at the present moment a bigger fan of AEW, because I would consider myself more of a hardcore wrestling fan.
I mean, that's why we all do what we do here, not only in the wrestling business, but on the podcast.
Right.
And yes, that's why most of us, with the exception of E, do veer a little bit more toward. I keep saying veer. I don't know. It's stuck in my head.
Because you're ready for him to come.
Subliminal messages are working.
Wrestling fan.
Here's the sad part. I watch AEW all the time. Like, I actually watch it. I watch MLW, or I watch GCW. I watch it all.
I just don't like.
I just don't like AEW's product. I think that they're making the same mistakes that WCW is making. I think that they're making a lot of mistakes, and it's going to come back to hurt them.
We'll see, but let me add a little. Let me add a little bit of
blind
humor.
To the fact that WWE is making a lot of mistakes, and it is hurting them.
No,
they're all making mistakes.
A hell of a lot of mistakes.
We could argue this point forever.
The tank, but that's what I'm saying. Is it all boils down to a creative standpoint. I don't care.
And what you're looking for. If you want the entertainment value in the characters and the big, stadium feel and the excitement that WWE brings, that is a spectacle. You're going to get it every time with them. The production's better.
WWE has the best production value, hands down.
Always.
They have the biggest star in professional wrestling in Brock Lesnar. And even though, I mean,
Yep.
he's the biggest box office attraction, period.
I love face Lesnar, by the way.
They have so much stuff going for him. The main Achilles heel is that there's nobody that gives a shit about wrestling writing that product.
It's entertainment over wrestling.
Right.
That's pretty much what it is. And
Now,
like I said, we can argue that forever.
If you go back to the Attitude Era, or even go back to the Rock and Wrestling area with Hogan, you always had a mixture of everything. You had the Randy Savages and the Steamboats putting on 30-minute classics at WrestleMania 3 that had the hardcore wrestling fan hooked in the way they told a story before you had Hogan slamming Andre as the spectacle.
Right.
But there was still everything on the card. And right now, they're not doing that. WWE is putting out a product where I don't give a shit what match you turn on Monday Night Raw. I don't give a shit what hour you turn on Monday Night Raw. It's the same fucking match, plug and play your character.
Agreed.
All right. So let me add a little bit of humor to this thing. And we talked about the Gunter name and everything. And I shared this with you guys in the private chat. Gunter, like Volta. So I shared this with you guys. Kayfabe News reported that Ciampa was repackaged as Crazy Luigi Pepperoni. And he comes out and says, Crazy Luigi is your winner, and I'm a spicy meatball. And Pete Dunne's going to be Sir Peter Fizzlebottoms III, and Kushida's going to be Super Mega Ninja Dragon. So that's kind of how it makes you feel when they change those names and do those stereotypes. But
there's no need.
It's not happening. Some of my friends thought that shit was real. They were like, holy shit, you got to talk about this on the podcast. They renamed Ciampa, and I'm like, no. So we will table this because this is a conversation we'll continue to have.
Oh, we could go on for
back
hours.
and forth between
Can I
the
say
companies.
I need more Italian names anyways?
Yeah,
More
there you go. Tony
More
D'Angelo.
Italians.
Tony D'Angelo. All right. Let's go to make 2 cents of it. We've got some fun stuff, and then we're going to get to the heel turn. Stay tuned. So the first bit of business I want to buzz through and get right to the recap of the last show we did picks for, which was day one. So ReleaseAMania 2022 happened a little more recently last week before we were live, and they were considered all backstage employees that were released. Hideki Suzuki from Diamond Mine, Timothy Thatcher and Danny Burch, and those guys really weren't getting a lot of TV time. Scott Armstrong and the Road Dogg possibly touring with Billy Gunn to do some shows I saw. And the big names, William Regal and Samoa Joe being released.
You saw Samoa Joe a mile away, though.
Yeah, and that one, I mean, they're not really super surprised. I think anyone who grabs William Regal to help recruit.
Back just to let him go again.
Yeah.
The bottom line is they cut Triple H's entire. I mean, you've heard it for a decade that Triple H was building his team, his guys to possibly take over for Vince. Whatever it's going to be. And basically they just gutted it and put Triple H in his place. So
anymore, it's not really much of surprises when people release. People are like, yeah, especially for this one was a lot of backstage people. Besides that, I just named the people that we've seen on TV.
William Regal, I was kind of shocked.
Now, if Regal shows up somewhere else as a recruiter, that could be a big move for an Impact, an MLW, or anybody who gets him showing up to Indies. From what I heard, if William Regal's there, the talent knows, hey, this could be it because he's here. So that could be big for someone. The other one recently, Ali asked for his request. Today, they denied it. They are not giving him his release. And Sami Zayn did sign.
That says Saudi Arabia all over it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Sammy's, and on the other side of that coin, Sami Zayn signed today as well. So apparently he's
and
staying.
that says Saudi Arabia. No, it doesn't.
No, that's what I mean, the other side of the coin. So the releases, we'll talk about. I'm sure there'll be more of them. We'll find out where they go. And there are so many free agents that are out there now, from the EC3s, the Killer Crosses, the Braun, the Briscoes, Keith Lee, Taven, Bennett, Hardy, Samoa Joe. I mean, the list goes on. You can make a company a pretty good match card just out of those that are released.
Ringside News actually ran a story saying that Balor has been trying to get his release as well, and they've denied it. I
saw that one too. They said they're going to hold on to him.
They'll
forever.
pay him $1 million a year to keep him away from everybody else.
Him and KO, unfortunately, those two need to be in the world title picture. In my
KO
opinion.
signed a monster deal. Come on,
you can't blame him.
KO is secure, but I mean, you have your first Universal Champion guy who's gotten over everywhere, and it's just him being misused. They don't know how to book him because he's not 6'5" and 270 pounds. And it's just sad.
They booked him whenever he was the Demon. Like, he let the Demon come out once in a while. I mean,
but if you think about that, that was mostly done, and that whole prestige was built in NXT. The minute that it got to the main roster, it was
people loved it there too, though. You can't sit there and say it wasn't that. People didn't freak out whenever he came out.
They freaked.
No, I'm not saying the people didn't respond. I'm saying it was misused.
But let's talk about
Nice
the
shirt,
old
Blaze.
school mentality, guys. Though, we always talk about these little guys who can do the flips, and they can do this, and they can do that. But was it really believable when Rey Mysterio won the world title? Is it really believable when these little guys who can do these great moves beat up a big guy? Like, where's that old school mentality where the big
why not?
guy
Why not the
wins?
David and Goliath story? It's epic.
Yeah, exactly.
The small guy beating the big
Because
guy.
I was just about to use
real.
David and Goliath. Thank
Dude,
you.
It's not real, dude.
It's been a story
E,
forever.
I
It
love you
doesn't
to
matter.
I
It
see
gives
where you're coming from.
Okay, listen.
You
Okay,
got the mentality you want big guys versus big guys.
all right.
I want to
I'm
suspend my
chiming-
disbelief. That's what
I'm
wrestling is
chiming
all
in
about.
on this.
Doc, I'm going to interject. I'm sorry. I know I've talked a lot.
No,
during this
fuck
thing
off.
already,
Here it
but
is.
Listen,
It's like
listen
this.
to me.
Now, David
am-
and Goliath, I'm going to keep talking till you shut the fuck up and let me talk. for
Well, I'm
once.
going to.
Yeah,
I haven't said a goddamn thing.
Whatever. Fuck you.
Thank you. Anyways, where I'm going out with this is you're writing a story. Everybody, again, like you said, David and Goliath, but you got to look at it like this. You have all these kids that watch wrestling, and some of them get picked on, especially little kids. And where I'm going at with this is you have Rey Mysterio win. It gives those kids hope. It gives the people that get bullied hope. And I hate to say it like that, but the people that were
True.
probably writing the Rey Mysterios and, the smaller guys that do this, they do this for those kids. I mean, look how big WWE is with anti-bullying. Am I saying that there's an anti-bullying banner out there or anything? No, but it still gives those little kids, those kids that just, they don't even want to get up out of bed. They don't even want to go to school. But Rey Mysterio holding that gold gives them hope.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Ray, my apologies.
No, that's
I've
okay.
not
Don't
been able to get a
apologize.
goddamn word in. Go.
Don't apologize.
All I was going to tell
We're
you
all
is
friends
this.
here.
Listen, outside of the professional wrestling world, I'm talking real world. You all know that when I was younger, I competed in martial arts tournaments. I did fairly well because I'm a stubborn son of a bitch.
And kick
However,
people in the face.
The toughest human being I've ever met in my entire life was 5'2" and 167 pounds. And he would throw my fat ass, your fat ass, and anybody else you wanted to put against him around with zero fucking problems. He made me cry. He made me tap out. He made many of us, you guys all know, Ted's my boy. Ted's, you're friends with Eric, as a size comparison. He took us both on at the same time and made us both tap and cry. The fact that, yes, it's unlikely that a 5'8" guy can beat a 6'4", 270-pound guy, but unlikely ain't unrealistic, bro.
You want to suspend your disbelief. It's superheroes doing things you don't think they could do.
And if it's booked the proper way, it can be made believable.
You want to get kayfabe with small versus big? One little excursion. Joey Styles versus JBL. Knocked him the fuck out.
True. And actually,
story.
if you want to talk about Brock Lesnar's best matches, tell me 3 of Brock Lesnar's top 5 matches, and it's going to be Finn Balor, Daniel Bryan, and AJ Styles.
Where he has to do things he doesn't normally have to do against a big guy. I agree.
Right.
But I can see both sides of the coin, and once again, arguments that we have friendly debate here, and we can talk.
Brock's versatility.
Yeah, I mean, if Brock Lesnar walks into Walmart, he's a fucking god. Ain't nobody beating him. But
Especially if he's face Brock. I'm in love with face Brock, dude. I am digging it. I think he's hilarious. I think he's super
I like
entertaining.
hair Brock.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
He looks like some kind of video game character or some shit.
He honestly looks like a farmer that
Yes,
just ate everything.
he has
on
to
the
come
farm
out in
and-
WrestleMania on a tractor, please. Give
Or
me
a
Farmer
moose.
Brock on a tractor.
What about chasing a moose with a gun?
He
With
looks
Arn
like-
Anderson with him.
He
They should
looks
have
like
Chase Sable out with moose ears and a tail on.
What if
He
he comes
looks
out
Oh, that
like a
could work
normal,
too.
everyday
Shot all over
guy.
her
As
numerous
the
times.
Mountie becomes Mountie Brock.
I know. Yes, he should be new. So
And he came out in some Dickie overalls.
He looks like a normal, everyday guy that's big.
This shit with him and Sammy had me on the floor. It was good stuff. So we have to leave E out of this part because you weren't here for when we did the picks, unfortunately, for day one. But and I had to make an executive decision.
Let's skip this whole thing. Half of the
Just real quick. It's going to be real quick. I'm just going to
Just
go
say
through
who
and tell
won.
you who.
Just say
Yeah,
one.
just say who
Please.
So Doc was the first champ. I won the second one. We picked the same for the Drew Madcap, the Uso match, the Liv match, and the RK Bro match. So that means nothing. Edge and Miz, Ray, CJ, and me got it right. Cesaro and Ricochet, Sheamus and Holland. So Doc, Ray, and me got it right, which left me with a tie between me and Ray. So I left it up, even though the 2 matches were combined, to the main event. Edge, Doc had Edge. I had Seth. Ray and CJ had KO. Nobody had Bobby in that supposed match. In the Roman Brock match, me and Doc picked Roman. CJ and Ray picked Brock. So your new champion is Ray. So he won. So we now have 3. I had to make an executive decision to include that match. So we will.
Day one was a clusterfuck. However, I will give props to that 5-way match.
Yes.
Yeah,
a lot of people were making fun of it because it went too fast, but I liked it. You have to have a sense of urgency like that.
The original plan for the match I heard was 20+ minutes, and it was 8? But Brock doesn't work by the hour, and it was wall-to-wall entertainment, dude. I mean, it was fantastic.
Big E looked legit shocked. Action. I don't think Big E was totally. It looked like he just found out he was going to lose.
Big E he was losing until Brock was like, "Stay down, son."
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about what was really supposed to happen at Day One with Seth?
I heard Seth was supposed to win. Yep,
Seth was
that would have been me picking it right.
Brock was winning the title.
Yep, I heard that too.
I mean,
we're hearing through the grapevine, so
what could have happened or whatnot, but I don't know.
Because they got to find a way to get back to Brock Roman for WrestleMania, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
And they're not going to unify the belts as much as I would like it.
I honestly don't think they should do Brock versus Roman for WrestleMania. It's been done 3 times already.
Unless they can get The Rock. Wouldn't it be the third one?
Yeah, this would be the third time.
Yeah, so that's the 3, I guess, if you want to talk about it. Seth, I heard, was supposed to win. But like I said, like you said, that was kind of a cluster. And we'll talk about the Rumble next week and get some predictions. But let's get on to what we got here for the 6 senses and some heel turns.
Yeah, they can move to this. Your soul man, they can move to this. It's brand new. Open your eyes and realize it's the new guys. Y'all familiar.
So I'm going to stretch out the reality a little bit here and just talk about some of the stuff nowadays where there and Cody Rhodes, heel turn, not heel turn, Wardlow turning on MJF would be more of a face turn. Julia Hart teasing a House of Black. Will Jamie Hayter, turn on Britt Baker? Will Christian turn on the Jurassic Express? Will RKO break up and feud on each other? Will Heyman turn on Brock? There's a lot of heel turn teasing and stuff going on nowadays, but let's go back and look at some of the greatest heel turns in history. This is really old school, and the first thing I want to point out is look at the fucking chair that he used.
It's a wooden chair. It hurt like hell.
Is that Zbyszko?
There's no sweet spot on those at all.
So here's the backstory. San Martino, wrestling royalty in WWE. The protege Zbyszko couldn't get out of his shadow. During an exhibition match between teacher and student, San Martino gamely out-wrestled his opponent, much to Zbyszko's frustration. Once thrown to the floor, Zbyszko returned with a chair and just bashed it over Bruno's head, laying him out in blood. In real life, Zbyszko had his life threatened by numerous fans in the Northeast before paying off the feud with a cage match in Shea Stadium. Doc, do you remember that at all?
In Pittsburgh or Madison Square Garden?
I think that was Madison Square Garden.
It doesn't say.
Because
you remember that, Doc? That's a long time ago.
Great that would have been.
Doc, you're muted, Doc.
Yeah, I was tiny then. I was real tiny.
This is January 22nd, 1980, but I just have to point out the fucking chair.
I was day one-ish.
Wow, that's true. A lot of people.
I don't even think my dad had met my mom yet.
This is the beginning of the Freebirds and the Von Erichs.
Yep.
Michael Hayes was the enforcer to Ric Flair's world title against Von Erich. Held outside the cage, Von Erich territory in Dallas, Texas. Late in the match, Hayes laid out Flair, but Kerry couldn't accept the cheap win. Von Erich went to the floor only for Hayes's Terry Gordy to slam the door on his head, and Von Erich failed to win the gold. Freebird Von Erich rivalry was ignited.
Love it.
I'd say that's a big one for such a feud back in the day to start, though, too.
For sure.
Ted DiBiase chooses Skandar Akbar over Jim Duggan, May of 1983. Man, that's an old one.
Look how
Devastation.
Look how young DiBiase looks.
Yeah,
true.
Look like he's Jesus.
I didn't even remember. Devastation Incorporated was the name of the crew. That's old. Ric Flair crosses Dusty Rhodes. This is a different type of heel turn, apparently. Flair would hardly qualify as a babyface. As a tweener, NBA champion Flair retained his gold over Nikita Koloff in the cage. Koloff's comrades laid him down afterwards. Rose made a save on his enemy's behalf, and rather than accept the gesture, Flair had old Ole and Arn Anderson jump Dusty, and they broke his ankle inside the ring.
Yep.
In Flair's allegiance on the fence before the day, he ended as one of the top heels once again. That's classic. I mean, anything Flair does.
I mean, that's technically, if you want to call it that, that's when
Double
the Horseman
turn
was started.
Yep,
Yeah.
true.
So I mean, that's a very important one. But I mean, we're going back here like far. And
Yeah, we're
it's
going
great.
chronologically, so we're going to work our way up.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the best heel turn of all time.
I got the top.
Me
there
and
was
Doc.
There's never been a turn. You've been heel since birth.
So that was 1985.
No, that was 1979.
No, this match I'm talking about.
I thought you meant last one.
Now this
there
looks
we
like
go.
Aleister Black
There
and
we
Brody
go.
King.
There's mine. There's
Is this
mine. This
Aleister
one I
Black
cried.
and Brody King pose?
Hey, I got to tell both these guys my childhood story, which was amazing because it brought it back. I was 6 years old when Mr. Wonderful won the title at Civic Arena. I was in the second row and cried the whole way back to Uniontown.
So this was originally a match with these two against Bundy and Stud. After the match is when he clotheslined him and power drive him. Doc, what's your thoughts on this one, man?
I was sitting in my living room on a Saturday, and I was watching, and I was
say,
like, finally, Stud and Bundy are going to get their ass kicked, and I'm watching it, and then, boom, here come Mr. Wonderful with the heel turn. I was devastated. I was devastated and just hurt, heartbroken because, like, I was Hulkamania. I mean, I did the training and all that
Who
shit.
wasn't?
Like, everybody, I know, everybody bought the workout set,
Yeah.
What year was this?
This one was 1986. It's called The Great Betrayal, June 24th.
So, Doc,
Yes.
you were in your freshman year of college.
Oh,
This was Saturday night's main event, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And doesn't it seem like yesterday, guys? Like these
It
old
does.
matches to me.
Yeah, that's
seems
why I like when I
Yeah.
started seeing these pictures, I was like, a lot of them will take you back.
Yeah, I
You'll see-
remember this.
Wait till we
Now,
get
the
closer.
ones-
This one
yeah.
I don't really remember that much, but Austin Idol Bloody's Jerry Lawler
Baller, yeah.
in a
No,
hair
I
versus
don't
hair
remember
match,
that.
obviously.
and then shaves his head, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, a little Memphis for you.
Austin Idol is a commentator on NWA Power, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
For a while there, he had the best commercials.
Yeah, those fake, those
There we
real
go.
cheesy
There we
commercials.
go.
This one too. This
Yeah,
one too.
this
hit
was
hard.
great.
Yes.
So Andre walks.
See, this
off
one to
only
me
with
is
an urn.
iconic.
This is a Piper's Pit with Heenan as his new manager. Andre calmly told the astonished Hogan he had only one thing to demand: a world title match at WrestleMania 3. Hogan tried to reason with Andre, who callously ripped off Hogan's shirt.
That's what I was going to say. He ripped off his necklace on that.
Yeah,
The
shirt.
result was
he
one of
was
the most
bleeding
historic
and everything.
matches ever. Yep. So that's not.
Well,
the,
I mean, he
that's-
was hitting the chest with a catcher's mitt. What
The best, you know who had the best reaction though out of all those? Like Piper, just was a little bit startled, but Jesse Ventura had the best reaction, especially when he's like, "I will go down you to a championship match at WrestleMania." When he did it, the fact that Ventura turned around, picked up his leg, was like, "Ooh, shit!" Like had this like. Was just fired up over because he didn't even know what I really liked about it, and it was just I love the way Ventura sold it. Ventura sold that like a fucking new car.
coming up on an anniversary, January 26, 1987. That went down.
Wow.
Here's another one I didn't really remember that much, but the UWF's Jim Ross calling each turn of the key. Taylor was conveniently absent for Hot Stuff International's assaults on Adams, Eddie Gilbert's crew, culminating with Taylor subtly allowing Adams to get pinned in a tag team title defense. In a later singles match, Taylor pile drove injured Adams on the floor.
Where the hell do you find this stuff?
Yeah.
Chris Adams and Terry Taylor.
I'm gonna quote the Wolf of Wall Street. I do not recall that.
How about this? Here's your main event one. The Mega Powers explode.
Over a girl.
Brother.
Yeah,
Yes.
this
That's why I got a
that
picture
woman.
of her in the background.
And she was probably doing both of them at the same time.
Ow. Damn.
I was
that
ready.
Ray disappeared.
Wow. What a
He's
dick.
so upset that Ray disappeared.
Ray got
She's
mad.
upset. She's like, you're pointing your finger because you screwed her.
I wouldn't doubt Easy on that one.
I mean,
I wasn't there.
The Mega Powers.
if you
The
really get
starting of the
technical, if you
can
look
they
at all the shit,
coexist
she
angle.
really wasn't that. She was only unfaithful like towards his WCW days when they were already split up when she
know
was
of.
Luger.
That you know of.
Yeah.
I'm sure Hogan's got the video.
Oh wow, there's another 20 mil. All right.
Okay, coming up next, 1989 Wrestle War. Terry Funk murders Ric Flair.
I don't
Oh,
remember
jeez.
this either.
You don't remember him in the tux, the pile driver?
I
Oh, that's
don't.
great.
So basically,
Wow.
Funk was serving as a ringside judge.
Dude, look at Mons. Look at Mons' comment.
that
And it ended up in a draw.
Sorry.
So Funk's apology
I gotta
was to
look at
wallop Flair.
Monstar's comment. Where's it at?
In the comments, it says, smell my finger.
Brother. Good old Terry Funk. Here's a good one. February 6, 1990, Clash of Champions, Texas Shootout. Sting found himself part of a babyface version of the Horsemen with Flair and the Andersons, set to combat Gary Hart's JPEX Corporation. Sting made the mistake of challenging Flair to a world title match, was promptly beaten by his friends. Sting injured his knee at the night attempting to get revenge, but will go on over Flair in the Great American Bash to win the gold. You remember that? You don't remember that one?
I don't remember this one.
I wonder if Macho's finger smelled like Hogan.
Kyle Ireson, welcome to the show, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, Blaze is digging deep
Of
here.
course
I don't
I'm
know
digging
a lot
deep.
Of these.
I'm digging deep. Now, the Terry Funk Flair one that we just saw was rated 4th overall on the one rankings, and the Mega Powers one was ranked 3rd overall, and the Andre Hogan one was ranked 2nd overall. So these are top 10.
I could agree with that.
This one was ranked 15th. So here's one where we had
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah,
Sergeant Slaughter spits on America is what it says.
You know, it's really bad that I have a tag team, the Jax Classic one. It's actually signed by him because it was the only Slaughter I had. I hated life at that day, but I handed it to him and he went, reminded me of these days, huh? I was like, it's the only fucking figure I have of you. I'm sorry. So I still have two Doc and Bodie at ease, Sergeant Slaughter on those two figure sets right there.
Wow.
Well, actually, it wasn't him. It wasn't Adnan. It was when Sheik did it as General Mustafa.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So we just talked about the Gunther thing with the Nazi thing. This is
shit.
Slaughter returning to WWE as a Saddam Hussein sympathizer in the midst of the Gulf conflict as Iraq evaded Kuwait. So they're talking about bad taste right there. That's man.
Do you
the heel
remember?
turns are happening here. Everyone's leaving.
Do you guys remember this? I don't know if anybody remembers this part. Mean Gene Okerlund was doing an interview, and then he went like this. You know, he like his earpiece, and he went, "Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Sergeant Slaughter has just defaced the American flag." Fucking people went ape shit. And
that's what I think. I mean, not that they're doing that. You can't do that completely now as much because of the internet and the backlash that you're going to get. But they've been doing this shit for years, man. These stereotypical, you want heel heat, you want heat. That's heat right there, man. All right, let's get into 1991. The Rock. Die Rocky, die chance. That's their series injury in 97. He denounced them and allied himself with the Nation of Domination. What came next is part of WWE history, step by step. He took over the stable, and soon WWE as a whole was an incredible turn at the perfect time, creating a star no one will ever forget. This may not have been an iconic beatdown or a double cross, but it was a huge turning point for the company, and the Rock fans had changed him, and he was never going back. So This is the turn of The Rock in 1991.
My phone decided to die, and I had to go find a computer that still has a webcam on it.
There you go. Well, it's coming in good. We can hear you well.
Did I miss Hogan in the NWO?
No.
All right.
You missed.
We're in 91. We just hit 91.
You missed Slaughter being an Iraqi sympathizer.
Yeah, that's the only one.
That's the most insulting one of all time, but great.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's watch Marty Jannetty eat some glass. WrestleMania 5.
That is the worst sound effect ever.
Yeah.
Michael's in motion to become one of the wrestling's greatest stars as he turned on Marty Jannetty.
Marty Jannetty into a downward spiral of drugs and hookers.
Turned him into a national
and
joke.
And he's still going.
Second,
that he is. If you catch his Facebook
part.
feed every now and again, it's comical.
Yeah, he's the definition of fuck money. You look it up in encyclopedia. There's this picture like So
blowing drill and banging hose.
Yeah, Monstar. I don't disagree with that. That probably is one of the most iconic heel turns ever.
he split up one of the most popular tag teams
is.
ever.
Yep.
Think about it. I mean, the Rockers. Everybody loved the Rockers. Hell, they won the tag titles. You just don't know about it.
Yeah,
But they won it. Just like when Orndorff beat Hogan for a night in the house show and made Eric Dolphy cry. You know, it's what it is.
Oh, jeez. Owen
It's
Hart
one of those things where the agent called for it, and then Vince was like, "What? No."
So this is a Royal Rumble match.
back. That'd be some good shit. All right.
The brothers were faced the Quebecers for the tag team titles of the Royal Rumble when Hart's lost by stoppage due to Brett's injured knee. Owen engaged the Ultimate Meltdown, including kicking his bad knee.
Why didn't you tag me? Why didn't you tag me?
This led to their iconic match at WrestleMania 10.
Where he had to fight Owen first. Owen beat him, and then in the main event, he beat Yokozuna for the belt.
That's right.
And in the back, Owen's like, "What the fuck? I should be champion."
If I remember correctly, the match between Brett and Owen was a fucking classic.
Yeah, it was great. Really? And what's crazy, Owen beat him with the roll up and everything. I'll never forget this because when Owen started to scream, Owen had a big white glob of spit right here when he yelled. It looked like somebody hit him with a money shot during the interview. It was hilarious. But what's crazy is if you watch the main event after Brett wins, Owen comes out and kind of teases, like coming out to like everybody come out to congratulate Brett. And like the faces are opening up the ribs going, come on, it's your brother. And he just goes, like, you know, we couldn't do this then. We had to do this. He just basically like, fuck you. I don't care.
That's right, Andy. He kicked his leg out. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, if you remember, Brett sold the shit out of that too. Like whenever Owen turned on him, he sold the shit out of that kick and like flipped over and everything.
Yeah, he did do the fucking moonsault bump off of it.
Yeah.
So you can't talk about heel turns without the one that was ranked number one. Bash at the Beach. Hogan is the third man.
Of course, that's
the day my childhood died.
Hulk Hogan, you could go to hell. We're out of here. The New World Straight Order. To hell.
Listen,
there it is.
This one, I don't know if it's just the age because I was 13 years old. You know, like in like the prime of wrestling and every fandom and whatnot. But there was like 5 of us at my house watching this. And when Hogan came down, me being the naive 13-year-old that I was, I'm screaming, he's going to whip their ass, blah, 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 blah. And then he turned. And I just remember my buddy Steve, who's 2 years older than me, getting right here in my face and being, ha! Ha! I told you so.
I don't think any of us would have ever called that.
Nobody would have thought
that's what's so great about it. You know, that's what's so great about it. And that's like
never
Brandon picks up. The Cena one would have been kind of big if they did that at his height of his face, if they had flipped him, but never happened.
I still don't think that would have topped this one.
No, it wouldn't have topped it, but it would have been something similar. Paul Bearer betrays the Undertaker.
What made that one so good, though, was the fact that Hogan wasn't even on the show.
Yeah.
He hadn't been around forever. So, like, you see Hogan come back, which is something he did at that time where he'd go away and film a movie or whatever. Then he'd come back, blah, 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 and be the hero. So, like, when he came down, you really never saw it coming, even though Bobby Heenan tried.
Yeah, I was just about to say. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, Heenan kind of slipped up.
Who's he with?
Yeah,
and Nash and Hall just came in the spring of '96, and that was July '96, so it wasn't that long after that the third man came in there as well. Yeah. Good to see a counts in the building.
5 months.
Yeah. So this is August 18th, 1996. Paul Bearer betrays the Undertaker. Boiler room brawl with Mankind and.
Yeah, I'm sick of holding you.
I mean, I guess that had to happen sooner or later.
Yep.
Yeah, they had to split those two up because Undertaker went on his own, but just the fact that Paul Bearer, man, that was like your lifeline. You know what I mean? He didn't even have to interfere. If you think about it, he really never stuck his nose in the business. He's kind of like he was like Paul Heyman before Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman really doesn't get involved.
Yeah.
If you think about it, Undertaker Paul Bearer came in, never interfered, and then boom, all of a sudden one day just
cracked him.
Yep, just walloped him with the source of power, the urn.
So the next one
back to his Pringle can.
Oops, the next one has layers, and it's, I guess you can consider it a double turn because it was a 2-night ordeal. Hold on, let me get back to it here. Started out WrestleMania 12 in 91 with a submission match, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold. And then on Raw the next night, Bret Hart condemns America.
Because they were in Canada, if I remember right.
Yep.
And
So-
then there's the Nation of Domination.
Created Hogan as Stone Cold Steve Austin as a household name as well, through this with the anti-hero sentiment as well. And then Hart assaulted rival Shawn Michaels, solidifying the heel turn in America while remaining a hero around the world. So kind of like a two-night affair.
Yeah.
This is when the night after WrestleMania was amazing back in the day.
Yeah. Nation of Domination. We are the nation, live and in color. Don't diss Farouk or he'll fuck your mother. Nation of Domination.
Whose line was that? I can't remember which one of our friends came up with that. Was that Wes?
What's that?
No,
The
someone came
Ferrucci.
up with that line at a pay-per-view one time. And
I
can't
think
remember
it
who the
was
hell
Wes. I think it was Wes when we were watching a pay-per-view at your house.
Wes what? Hall or Wes or
I,
Legan?
I thought it was Wes Hall that came up with that.
Wes
Who
Legan.
started
No.
thinking that?
You really want to know who came up with that one?
Yeah.
The late Jody Kennedy. And then I
Was that
repeated
Joe?
it was Jody.
Don't diss Farouk,
Another
he'll fuck your mother.
iconic one
Damn.
tied to the last one, 1997, the Montreal Screw Job.
That's got to be up there in the top 5.
I
That's
don't
where it
see how
all
that's a
went
heel
to-
turn. I don't see how that's a heel turn.
It was me,
Um,
goddammit.
The boss had emerged as real-life drama, transforming the story into what became the Attitude Era. While decades will be spent questioning who was in the right, the end result was Mr. McMahon took over the business with a heel turn pushed by real circumstances that more or less lasted into the modern day.
Here's a question I have for all of you guys.
So it's McMahon's heel turn, apparently.
With
I
this.
don't see that.
Do you think that this was completely a screw job? I do not.
I don't
Do
know.
you still feel like it was all staged?
I feel like it was maybe started as a shoot, turned into a work.
I feel like everybody was in on it 100% with the exception of Brett. I mean, Brett, the way Brett reacted, I really don't think he knew. I think he might have suspected.
right.
But Michael saying that he didn't know anything about it, that's bullshit.
I agree.
Obviously, Earl knew about it. You know, they knew what was going to happen.
I mean, before this,
And
wasn't
Michael's-
McMahon just the announcer guy? And the other, I mean, he's truly, after this, people fucking started to hate Vince McMahon because of what happened.
I just don't feel like it was 100% a shoot.
That's the intrigue behind this turn, and that it'll probably always be that way too. Holler
yeah,
if
I
you
mean,
hear me. We got a new NWO
if it ain't came out
member.
yet, it ain't coming out.
Yeah, it's
Scott
not
Steiner turning on his brother Rick and joining the NWO.
Who
Oh my God, if
cares?
we're going to put these in there, this is going to be 358 heel turns because every other week somebody turned on someone to join the
Well,
NWO.
there's no Big Show heel turns in here, so that's like 12 or 13 turns there. How many times he went back and forth? I was surprised not to see any
If
of that.
this one wasn't in here, I wouldn't even remembered it.
Vince McMahon embraces the hate. McMahon accepted Austin's challenge for a match on the Raw that turned the ratings tide against WCW, and Mr. McMahon became one of the wrestling's greatest villains. So he just ran with that Mr. McMahon heel thing and fighting
I
with
mean,
Stone
the-
Before
Cold.
this.
The feud between Stone Cold and McMahon is legendary.
The Rock and Shane McMahon go corporate. Survivor Series, November 15, 1998.
It is what it is.
These are some of the higher ones in the list of 25, by the way. Just saying. They're just in
That's-
chronological order.
Surprising.
After the Hogan one, everything's a letdown.
And
Yeah.
then Triple H joins the corporation.
Meh.
WrestleMania 15, 1999. And then Stephanie McMahon turns on Vince McMahon at Armageddon.
Meh.
Yeah, exactly. Some of these
And
are questionable.
WrestleMania 7, there's 35 of them, dude. WrestleMania 17, Stone Cold sells his soul as he sides with WCW.
Now, if you want to talk about the stupidest, worst heel turn, this was it. There was
Yeah,
no
I
reason
didn't-
for this. It killed
Nope.
Stone Cold's momentum. Dumb.
I agree. Yeah, these are not in order of best to worst or worst to best by any means. When The Rock turned from his filming in 2003, something was different. Gone was
What's
the
up with
People's
that?
Champion. Hollywood version of Dwayne Johnson that ate tofu, mocked the fans, and feuded with Hulk Hogan.
The best what I loved about this right here is their promos were amazing. Like when he's like, I know a superhero that could beat the Scorpion King, and he's like, who's that? He thought, me. No, I know a superhero I could beat. Who's that? And he goes like, the Scorpion King, and then The Rock would be like, no, you shut up. Like it was just some of the greatest. I thought some of the funniest promos, and then he's like, eat a Hamburglar. You're the Hamburglar. He kept calling him the Hamburglar. That's some good times.
I think at this point though, Rock was more like
cool heel.
I mean, Rock was more
Still
less
I
heel
loved him
or
in Matter.
face.
Yeah.
Period. You know what I mean? Like he was just so over at that point that he transcended.
It didn't matter how
he was funny, face or heel. He was hilarious either way. So it's like you still either laughed or got entertained. Would have meant more WWE stick to Michaels' heel turn, but Hogan allegedly refused to lay down, killing the Impact. Independence Day Raw ends with Hogan and Michaels passively celebrating a win, and then a super kick into Hogan's face.
I was at Pittsburgh when they had the face off about it. Like it was the Raw before the pay-per-view where they were fighting. I remember, and they actually had Hogan fighting house shows. Like it was a 6-man tag. It was him, Batista, and Cena versus Michaels, Angle, and there was one more. Oh my God, I forget the third guy. Damn it! But there was some good. There was a good match, and at the end, of course, Hogan leg drop 1, 2, 3 on I think it was probably Angle, and then they did the pose off, but Batista literally refused to do a pose off.
So that was 2005 July on a Raw. This is
the
2008.
The real heel turn of this whole situation, though, was Michaels heel turning on the wrestling business with the way he sold during that SummerSlam match.
Oh, gee.
So Michaels' bouts of unfair play and insulting that Michaels enjoyed retiring a Flair at WrestleMania. Jericho attacks a longtime rival on the highlight reel. More glass involved here. Do I get my corny broken glass effect for Ray?
That's
the
so
Jeritron 6000 or whatever he called it.
Yeah.
Jeritron. Well, yeah, RIP Jeritron.
Fast forward 10 years to the one that actually matters.
So
when he turned
CM
on
Punk turns on The Rock 2012. CM Punk was the biggest hero. That all changed with one clothesline to The Rock, made him wrestling's most hated villain.
I don't know about most.
I don't know about hated because I cheered for I wanted Punk to beat him, but I knew it was going to happen.
The Authority excommunicates Daniel Bryan.
Yep.
2013.
You do have to give Punk credit for that situation though, because he was champion at the time and went from the most over babyface champion to the top heel champion in the same title reign. Granted, it was a 400-day title reign.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And this here only helped out Bryan in the long run.
It says referee Triple H pedigreed Bryan, enabling Orton to score the title. So it helped Orton too. Seth Rollins turns on the Shield.
Into the Yes movement.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins turns on the Shield June 2nd, Raw 2014. Triple H's Plan B.
Ah, yes. I remember
this was a good one.
Well, yes, it was.
It was only a matter of time before you start seeing the Shield go their own ways, I guess, and this is one way to do it. Kevin Owens turns on Chris Jericho 213-17 on Raw. More glass! Recurring thing. That's the third broken glass everywhere heel turn. And then we got two of the most recent ones.
I was going to say this though with Owens and shit was fantastic.
Yeah,
that was the best laid out heel turn because it lasted almost 2 years of them being friends, and they teased it a few times.
The festival of friendship, it said.
Yeah, festival of friendship. Yeah.
And I think more so with that, my favorite part was
there you go, TJ.
Triple H pedigree and somebody for Owens to win the title or something. Wasn't that in there somewhere?
Yeah.
So this is DIY.
This should be feud of the year from 2017.
Definitely.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Beat the shit out of each other back and forth. That was number 33, 2017. And of course, the final one, which is kind of still going on. Roman Reigns turns on literally everyone.
Yeah. Except for the bloodline.
Yeah, true. Except for the bloodline. So Roman Reigns' heel turn was the most recent big time, unless you guys can think of anything recently of a heel turn that would be considered. This was just two lists that I found that I combined them as best I could. And
I don't know that I would necessarily consider it a heel turn, to be honest. Just
this one?
Yeah,
There was no heel turn on that. On that
it
one.
was just him changing his attitude about how he did things. I wouldn't necessarily deem it a straight up heel turn.
Well, it even said he became a hated but respected member of the roster, so it was kind of like still technically a heel turn, but no, it's not as severe as the other one.
The minute Paul Heyman was
he wasn't
him, that is really when the heel started.
Well, that's why I kind of feel like this list is a little convoluted in the sense that, like,
agreed.
To me, a heel turn is one of those instantaneous moments,
right?
Like when Hogan came out and turned, like that's a moment where it's 1 second he's a
like,
babyface over, you're unsuspecting.
Yeah.
Whereas like some of these were like the gradual workovers of a character change.
Yes.
Which is still a heel turn, don't get me wrong. It's just not the kind of impactful heel turn that you kind of think of when you moments.
That's why I wanted to kind of do a broader list. If I could have did 10 of the best just heel turns, but when I saw the list, I was like, this gives us a lot of different types of turns to talk about, like the double turn and the not so much heel turn with Flair the one time, you know. So it's all
like
kinds
one
of
of my
heel
favorite heel turns of all time. One of my favorite heel turns of all time, which isn't on this list.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking anybody.
Is when Shane Douglas throws the NWA title in the trash. He goes from the baby face.
True.
White bread champion that the NWA handpicked to starting a revolution to which
with ECW
literally a threat carried ECW for the next 8 years.
Yeah,
as you know, the top heel faction. So, I mean, like that's the kind of impactful heel turn where it's like literally within a matter of minutes or seconds, you're making that about face U-turn of where the crowd is cheering you to fucking hating you. Yeah, that's a heel turn to me.
This title can kiss my ass.
What about you, Doc? Is there any that you didn't see on the list that you would kind of include in a big heel turn that you can think of?
You know what? Remember when Mr. Perfect teamed up with the Horsemen to go against NWO, and then he ran into it was War Games, and he ran in and started throwing out the handcuffs. And then
we talked about that on the War Games thing. Yep, that is a good one. Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the more surprise ones. Some of these were like Ray said,
like the Andre and Hogan, the Orndorff and Hogan turning to NWO. Those to me are the heel turns because they're, when Andre walked out on Piper's Pit, you were never thinking that he was gonna, rip Hogan's shirt off, rip his crucifix off, challenge him. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where when the segment starts, you're like one way, and then at the end you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, I think Ray put it best. Like some of those on that list, they are a little bit questionable, in my opinion.
The Roman Reigns thing is a change of the character for sure, but it was a gradual thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He did that over the course of a month. He showed up for that title match, and he was kind of acting heelish and kind of not, but he never really changed his internal ring behavior. It just the promos and the attitude were like a slow change to when he became full-blown heel with Heyman.
Yeah,
that's why when I looked at this list, I was like, I can't go 1 through 25. It just doesn't make sense. Let's just talk about all of them.
It was more of, and pardon the pun, an attitude adjustment, not really a heel turn.
Yeah, pun. Yeah. Nice pun. Nice pun. I see that. I don't know if we're gonna do a baby face turn episode or not. It's not as exciting.
That really isn't.
Andre, we had the Andre one, McShreddy. You're a little late.
Yeah, Andre was on there.
So the Hogan NWO one was number 1 on like 4 or 5 lists that I found, but
as it should be.
Yeah, that was like we discussed. That's kind of the epicenter of what a heel turn is, what you really don't expect.
I don't know that you're ever going to be able to have one with that kind of impact again, just
Probably
because
not.
Hogan was a baby face for 10, 12 straight years, and not only a baby face, the baby face.
Yeah,
the crowd never turned on him.
All right, well, there's a question. What baby face right now would make an impact if he turned heel right now? What baby face? There's not really any super baby faces anymore, to be honest.
Cena. It's still Cena. It's always Cena.
Yeah.
If Cena
that would definitely still be shocking.
If Cena was going to come back full time, even for like a year, you know what I mean, or something like that. But it's not going to happen because his Hollywood career is kicking off. Peacemaker's fucking hilarious.
Oh, it is. I watched the first 3 episodes.
I have to get that.
Freedom!
I'm not like a big, I guess you had to watch Suicide Squad to understand it, which I didn't, but it's still funny as hell.
You should watch Suicide Squad.
I just finished What If, and I'm doing Book of Boba, and those 2 are great, too.
Yeah, I got to see the new Book of Boba tonight.
Cena's high because they can see you in the background.
Cena's hilarious in it, though.
But Cena would be the one, like, honestly, with the NWO thing. So we have the NWO for 2K22. if they were doing some kind of thing and like a group came and jumped the NWO and kickstarted a new version of the NWO or something, and Cena was revealed to be the leader,
that would be.
That's the
but
most.
Is there anybody else? Like, I don't know. You can't really
agree
even.
with you, Ray, but I just don't think it would get the same type of reaction.
Well,
as
if it-
how
I'm
that-
not saying
no
the
one's
same.
ever
I'm
gonna
just saying the
compare that.
most.
Oh
That would
yeah,
have the
for
most
sure.
impact you could have right now.
So
Yeah,
Bryan
agreed.
Danielson kind of towed that line. It wasn't that expected. He wasn't full blown heel, but he did turn more to that messing with the crowd type thing. Bailey's heel turn, that was a heel turn. It was pretty much
The only
heelish.
other one I think right now that would have massive impact would be if Big E turns on the New Day.
That one. I waited for that like last year or
good
whatever. I
point.
was like, that would have
Very
been great
good
if
point.
Big E would turn. Yep.
Yeah,
What about
I
you,
was
Doc?
hoping that would happen with the championship, like maybe Kofi would win the Rumble or Woods would win the Rumble or something like that.
I don't think they're ever going to break them up just for
No.
merchandise purposes
Yeah,
and
no.
just there's.
I
You
no-
can always bring
agree.
him back. You know, you can bring him back, but that
I know
would
you
be
could,
fun.
but I just doubt it.
Anybody
right
else
now,
that you would
that's-
think?
Right now, that's the only other active
Yeah.
wrestler I can see that would have a huge impact. Not to mention the fact
Do
that
you
how
know what-
over they are with kids.
Or just a surprise?
Speaking
Or
of
really
kids,
crush
do you want to
impact?
know the one of the heel turns that really hit Bodie hard was the Kenny Omega one. When Kenny Omega turned, Bodie was bummed. I
love Don
I
Callis
kind
in
of saw
that,
it
man.
a mile away, but
Yeah,
and then the
Nowadays,
Bucks
they tease
when
it.
the
They
Bucks
just-
did their thing too.
Yeah.
For some reason,
The
man, my
elite
kid will
turn
get
was
invested, and then when they do this, he's like, "Fuck them." And like one thing about him, he'll like I told you before with his action figures, he's like the cowboy Bill Watts. If you have a heel turn or he disagrees with you, your figure is screwed for the night.
Yeah.
Like when they injured Moxley, Jericho had to fight a 20-man gauntlet, win or lose. And the last person to pin him, Orlando Jordan. Why?
If,
Because nobody's putting over Orlando Jordan, Daddy.
Speaking of
wouldn't-
Moxley,
if Darby turned on Sting,
yeah.
yeah,
if
we
Darby
talked
would
about
turn on Sting, that would be big.
we
or
talked
vice
about
versa.
Moxley. I think the Moxley talk was before the call, though. I think when we were
Yeah.
talking about CJ, we were talking about
Yeah.
the guy who come out and said, "Get this garbage out the ring." He's drunk, and he told him to go fuck himself.
get
And then
him,
Moxley's
yeah.
promo was really good.
There
thought
was a
so,
couple
too.
F-bombs last night, actually.
Yeah,
Lance
and the
Yeah.
way
Archer-
he looked when he left to last night was amazing. We were talking about that before the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Moxley
I mean-
looks great, like 10 years younger.
And
Yeah,
again,
for sure.
me personally being in recovery, I could tell the difference with him coming back out last night that he's in a much better place physically, mentally.
I was going to
Yeah.
say his promo was super sharp with delivery timing wise and
I
everything
loved
too.
it. He's right
And
back onto
it was meaningful.
Yeah.
What about Cody's promo? Any thoughts on his last
I
night?
thought
you
it
guys?
was I thought it was good, but he's gonna keep teasing him going heel and never actually go heel because
I
he
love
doesn't
it.
need to.
I
He
love
could
the
just
fact that he's towing
keep
the
doing
line.
what he's doing.
I like
Here's
the shirt, face heel winner. Check.
I
love
love
that.
the tease
That's a
of
great
both.
shirt.
Here's the thing about Cody's promo last night. The promo itself, I loved.
Yeah.
It just doesn't relate to the storyline. And he didn't make it relate to the storyline of him and Sammy. If he would have
No,
said
he-
now because I'm not under contract or now because they forget what I've done, they just
Right.
go and give my title to somebody else. But
Yeah.
that line
Yeah.
was never there to transition from the I'm the one who broke down the forbidden door. I'm the one who
True,
created the forbidden door to why I
Right.
want a ladder match versus Sammy.
Yeah, it was just the announcement of the match, basically.
Yeah.
No reasoning
Yeah,
behind it.
like
You're
you
right.
said, Ray, there could have been a little
was a
bit
big
better
ladder.
of an explanation.
That was like a Jeff Hardy jump off and get injured type ladder. That thing was humongous.
So I think he didn't want to call out Tony Khan saying that they're forgetting about me or anything like that. And I get that. However, that's where the logical steps go to build to what
Right.
you're trying to
They're
build.
teasing that too, Wally. They're teasing the inner circle with.
And I just don't understand why there even needed to be an interim TNT champion if he was only going to be gone for 2
Yeah,
weeks
true.
or whatever.
Just because they wanted the belt defended on Battle of the Belts. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
again, I don't agree with it. I think they should
Right.
have done a number one contenders match or something like that. But
Exactly.
So speaking of
It is what it
unifications,
is.
we talked about this before the show too. ROH Supercard of Honor April 1st has its first match. Bandito and Gresham will unify those belts. So that's going to be pretty cool. I'm down for
good
that.
because Terminus was a shit show. From
Really?
a
I didn't get to see
standpoint.
it all. I just saw
I
the
didn't
main event
watch
was
it
a
yet.
draw or something, right?
I didn't watch anything of Terminus. I looked at the results, and you have Moose jobbing. You have Josh Alexander, who is a title holder for ROH, jobbing. You had two different ROH world titles defended on the same card. It's just again, whenever you get a third-party promotion, like for instance, IWC. If IWC brings in an ROH World Champion, the ROH World Champion goes over. It's just, that's what you do in the Indies. You put over.
You should.
Yeah. And Terminus was like, nah, I don't give a fuck who's the champion. He's jobbing.
This
you had an
Sunday,
Impact champion jobbing out, an ROH champion jobbing out. That to me just. You're going to recognize those titles. If not, then don't recognize the titles at all. Don't call Musa an Impact champion. Don't call, Josh Alexander the Pure Wrestling champion. Just don't call them those champions. And that's
I have to go on this chat here. I have to disagree a little bit with Monstar and Count about Moxley's promo being meh. And maybe I'm saying this because I'm a recovering alcoholic myself.
I love this promo.
I thought it was very heartfelt and personable, and it really is, how it is.
Both those promos were fire last night. I don't care what anybody says. So this Sunday, there's a GCW show, World on GCW. It's kind of notable. So we talked about it before.
Yeah.
Effie versus Jeff Jarrett. There is the Briscoes versus question mark for the GCW tag titles. And my first thought was FTR, but they just got their match canceled last night because of health and safety protocols.
It wasn't because of FTR. Brock Anderson tested positive for COVID.
Was it Brock? Okay. We got Joey Janella so it still may be FTR showing up for this show. And this is this Sunday. Joey Janella versus Matt Cardona with Chelsea Green.
People may disagree with me, but anything Cardona does is money in my eyes.
Did anyone see that Cardona, well, actually not Cardona, technically it was Chelsea and Janella, recreated the Ric Flair Elizabeth photo shoot?
Yes.
From whenever Ric Flair and Macho Man were feuding with each other?
Yes.
They literally did a shot-for-shot recreation. Janella's leaning down by the pool of Chelsea in her bathing suit and shit. It's funny. Go online and look it up. It's on his Twitter.
I'll have to check that out.
Fantastic.
And the thing he's doing, you'd think, why couldn't he have done some of that shit in WWE? Cardona
because they wouldn't let him.
Yeah, I know.
He had a match, I guess, recently against one of the Rock and Rolls or Midnights, and his promo, he's singing NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye.
Oh, jeez.
It's fucking hilarious.
That's just like Sting we talked about before. He's still 62, jumping off of going through tables and shit. Things that they would never let him do in WWE.
Sting's face after he went through that table, there was a whole look of what the fuck was that?
I'm glad I'm still alive. And then ROH World Championship, Gresham versus Blake Christian. In the main event, John Moxley defends the GCW title against Homicide. So not a bad card for GCW this Sunday.
About Cardona, though, that harkens back to what we were talking about earlier about the booking.
Yeah.
Cardona was never going to be like your 5-star, 6-star match type of guy. He's not that type of worker, but where he excels is his entertainment value. That's how he got over with the Z True Hollywood story.
True.
And now he's getting the chance to be the character that he is, and it's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
True.
But I don't totally disagree with you, but I think his work is probably maybe a little bit better than what you're giving him credit for.
I'm not by any means saying he's a bad worker.
Right.
He was young in his career.
Hip toss man.
Yeah.
Young in his career, he had a bad habit of not being smooth. Everything looked choppy.
Oh, I agree.
And he definitely worked that out. But he's never going to be. He's never going to be, Kenny Omega or Daniel Bryan.
God, no.
No.
I agree.
You put the character work in his hands, and oh my God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm glad I didn't bring this up while Eazy-E was here, but it just got the ratings in. AEW Dynamite did a 1.032, and in the 18 to 49 demo, they beat Raw. But it's 0.44 to 0.43. It's not a huge defeat, but
still,
they should never be coming close to Raw at this point. But that's impressive to me.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that you're talking about a 1-hour show on Friday night at 10 o'clock.
No, this is Dynamite. Last night's Dynamite beat Raw.
I thought you said
last night, if I did, I'm wrong. Last night's Dynamite beat Raw this week. So we'll see. I think it's a live Rampage this week. I think it's live.
I think it's
Rampage.
too.
I'm not sure.
I think
so and I think when they do live ones, they're going to do something because
the way I look at it is if AEW is even sniffing Raw or SmackDown rating, that's a victory for them.
Yeah,
you're talking about a show that about a show that has been on for
still a couple years.
What's Raw now? 35 years.
Yeah, and Dynamite's going on 3, and Rampage hasn't even been a year.
Nope.
And not to mention the fact that Dynamite just changed channels 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We'll see how
Look,
that
we
goes,
didn't have a podcast that week. I did not get to see Paige versus Brian.
It was good.
It was
My
amazing.
DVR decided that even though when you went on TNT or TBS, it said recording Dynamite.
It's on
it didn't.
demand.
I saw it eventually, but I'm just saying, like live.
Yeah.
If we would have had our podcast that Thursday, I didn't get to watch Dynamite at all until a week and a half later.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, changing networks and everything. The fact that they're even sniffing close, that's a win, man.
And beating.
From what someone was saying, and I don't know this altogether, but I watched a couple podcasts that says that TBS does have a wider reach than TNT does on a national thing. So it kind of does make sense that their ratings could go up a little more. They're going to get to more people.
Right.
Maybe more eyeballs are on them. So hopefully it's a good thing in the long run.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember seeing a while ago when they announced that like I think TBS is available in
more homes than
like
TNT.
150,000 more homes, 200,000 more homes.
That could be that little push they need. We'll see.
Yeah, but like Ray said, they still did just fine on TNT and was beating Raw and whatnot on TNT.
We talked about it earlier. The real wrestling fans are going to dig what they do because they're putting on great shows. They're giving you something to talk about after every show. Speaking of something to talk about, we talked about GCW, ROH. We talked about NXT and WWE and AEW. So what's going on in the indie world this week and soon there, Doc?
Well, we have a show this Saturday, RWA, and unfortunately we are
competing against IWC Reloaded.
Seriously.
Those two should go like back to back.
Hey, wipe your mouth. Plumber left a little here for you. So what I was going to say is this. I don't know who books the RWA shows. I really don't. But you don't book against IWC. I'll say it out loud. But however,
they do like a stagger them one before and after the other. So
I support
somebody fucked up because when I helped start RWA, that was always a mandate.
But here's the thing:
is we don't split the audiences because they're 20 minutes apart.
And I support all indie wrestling and would never say anything.
They're both
going to
be great
RWA.
Shows. They're both going to be great shows, especially like I said, RWA.
You're RWA alumni just like me.
Yeah, we have a cage match. We have.
Aren't you guys crowning a new champion?
Yes, we are crowning a new champion. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but like Doc said, you just don't book the same date as another promotion that's not far away. It's not smart.
And then I hate this. IWC has the reset button, which is probably one of the biggest events of the year for Pittsburgh independent wrestling. So, like I said, they're both good shows. We're both going to have a lot of people.
I would never say anything bad.
So the incident, Doc, are they going to get answers to that, or is it they're resolving the incident, or no?
Guess we'll see what happens. I mean, if you think about it, with the incident that happened on. It's not in November, not December. We couldn't run in December because of it. Answers, there's going to be some punishments handed out, I think, live to the guys that incited the incident. God forbid we say the R word. And last but not least,
I'll say it. It was very near a riot that went on in that building.
Yeah.
And for those in the chat that are watching that don't know, this indie show, it had a storylined explosion at the end of the show that really took off, and the cops were really called because they sold it really well. Chairs and people flying around. It's really good. If you check out indiewrestling.us, you'll see some from that venue.
Yes.
It probably won't be anything this recent, but
I will say this.
The description.
There was a kid injured. Mine.
Yeah.
It was bad. I picked him up to get out of there, and I'm holding my child running, and I'm telling people, get out my way, get out my way. This guy decides to clip me, like knee clip, like I felt like one of the Pittsburgh Penguins getting, knee to knee, and I just pretty much spine buster, double A style, my son onto this hard ass basketball floor, right?
CJ
so I called down with him. I look over.
Now.
I wanted to kill this guy. Like, I was so pissed. I turned around and said, when I say fucking move.
Chaos.
And then all I hear is this little voice in my ear go, Daddy, what? I'm going to sell it. He literally goes, oh, Dad, my back. Ah. And I pick him up, and the fan's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, you should be. You get it back. And the whole time, Buddy's going, ah. And as soon as we hit the curtain, Buddy goes, all right, did that look good? Yeah. I put him down.
That's my boy.
Went back out. I was proud
to the few people in the chat asking about my shoulder. Thank you. It's coming along. We're at about 60%. Still got a lot of work to do, but we're getting there.
Thank you, Walter.
Walter, thanks everybody for stopping by tonight, man. You guys rock.
CJ, you don't have to be coy. He can now switch hit again.
Yes, I can. I can actually lift my arm over my head, which I couldn't do before surgery.
I don't think I still can.
We don't need a demonstration.
Right there.
Yeah,
we don't need any lower demonstration.
This is my bad one. So, like I said, we're getting there.
Again, ease out of a job.
I go tomorrow to see when my ACL surgery is. So that's step one to me ever bumping again.
And I'm a dumbass, and I love pain because I just had my 3 remaining wisdom teeth removed on Tuesday.
You were supposed to call me.
And I was all of it.
I was good.
All right, I'm done.
All right, so here's the question, wrestling fans. You have two indie shows this week. Corey Graves is in Pittsburgh this week, possibly for a Rumble appearance 2 weeks ago. So does he return to RWA, where he was once World Heavyweight Champion? Does he return to IWC, where he was once in a cage match to determine the control of the company? Or is he trolling everybody and he's going to be sitting on his couch getting his feet rubbed by Carmella?
I'm going Corey with Graves. He's trolling everybody.
I'm going to say the Carmella rub.
We will revisit that
rubbed.
next Thursday.
But
we'll have more information.
If I were to pick one of the two, I hate to say it, Doc, and no disrespect, I would say IWC before RWA.
And I'll say RWA before IWC because that's who I am. So that's where I'm from. So
absolutely,
I'm not saying anything bad. It's just the only guy that he liked at RWA is gone.
I hope he shows up on both for you guys.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
We'll touch base on what happened.
In all honesty, he is a. I'm not going to say he's like one of my best friends. He's a good friend of mine. Obviously a lot better friend back before he got famous and.
Me and the kid trained together.
Do you guys want to see him back in the ring? Do you guys want to see him back in the ring and maybe fight somebody at WrestleMania or something?
I would love to see him do a storyline, but I would not like to see him taken off commentary to be a full-time worker.
Agreed.
Yeah. I would never take him off.
Corey Graves or Sterling James Keenan, whatever you want to refer to him as, it has one of the best wrestling minds in the business. He was a phenomenal worker, but he was never what you would call an exceptional worker, kind of like the Cardona thing we're talking about.
Agreed.
Super smooth worker, good worker, but he was never, he's never going to be Kenny Omega or anything like that.
No.
But his psychology is second to none.
Yes,
he knows how to rile a crowd up. And I think if they did him a storyline kind of like they did, like they used to do with Jerry, where he would get in the ring for, a match or like a little string feud with somebody, possibly over maybe somebody accidentally hitting Carmella or something like that, because they've hinted at that relationship. They've too full blown talking about it. I think that could be awesome.
So here's what I heard, and you guys tell me what you think. So it was him winning the 24/7 title first, and then Saxton winning off of him, right? Rolled him up, right? So what I heard was they both enter the Rumble, and Graves gets him back and throws him out the Rumble, and possibly leading to Graves having a match at WrestleMania, not knowing who. That's what I've heard.
I'd be okay with
Saxton's a former worker too, so I mean,
they could probably
maybe they could have a one-on-one match at a Raw or something before Mania, and maybe set him up for. I'd love to see him have a Mania moment.
I'm in agreement with Ray. I'd love to see him wrestle again. I just don't want to see him being permanently taken off of commentary.
I doubt they would do that.
No, he's too good and too valuable on commentary, and I think he knows that too. Plus, I mean, for longevity, as any wrestler knows, your bump card is limited.
Yeah.
Whereas he could be an announcer for WWE. Well, I mean, technically with WWE, you could be there for the next 2 weeks, the next 20 years. You never know.
True.
Yeah.
But I mean, his best shot of longevity of a career in wrestling is
commentary.
But did he ever? I mean, I know he was NXT, but did he ever have a WWE fight?
He was doing house shows before he was medically disqualified. So it was in the process of him coming up.
And he's had a few squash matches.
Roster. Yeah.
You have to think he wants a TV match. You'd have to think he wants a TV match.
Yeah. It's his dream. Yeah. It's every guy's dream to do it. But like I said,
now that he's healthy, I hope he does.
I think his best bet would be to involve Carmella in some type of storyline.
Yeah.
And have him do something like that. Even if they do a mixed tag match with The Miz, maybe Maurice and Carmella get into it. And
speaking of that, Edge and Beth, I'd rather see Edge and Beth versus Becky and Seth than fucking Miz and Maurice.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they'll ever pull Seth and Becky together. But Who knows?
But
Who cares?
yeah, it's one of those things, man, where like I hope he gets his moment at some point. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah. And I promise you, me and him haven't always seen eye to eye on things, but I guarantee you he is a way different person today than he was 10 years ago. We've talked about that before.
Well, hopefully on one of the shows we'll be talking about the return of Corey Graves to the ring, whether it's a surprise at one of these house shows, one of these shows.
I really don't see that happening because WWE, I don't think would allow him to. But
not
never
a match,
say
but
never.
just to show up.
Never say never.
Yeah, or a match in a Raw, or have him hopefully maybe one WrestleMania moment for the man. He deserves it. We will be back next week, 8 p.m. as long as everyone's cool with that. We'll be talking about the Rumble. We'll talk more about the Rumble. We didn't really touch base on it that much tonight, and more about what's going down in AEW. Maybe we'll have some more shit go down. I will be live here momentarily with the semifinals of the Stable Wars as well. I saw you sons of bitches already talking about it in the chat. Two of the most hated teams, weirdest teams are going at it tonight. Should be fun.
Real quick. Brandon Ace. No, I'm not going to train my boy to become a professional wrestler. However, I got teachers to the teachers here.
I'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, teach him how to talk.
He has look here. He has enough uncles in about 2 or 3 lives. He's good. Trust me. He's going to get the training he deserves. I promise.
Yep.
So that's a no. He ain't doing it, but someone will answer.
Yes, I'm going to sit there and call the action.
And about your upcoming Stable Wars, just beware when the new game comes out that the WrestleSense stable is going to be wrecking shit.
Make a return, yes, sir.
I'll be a manager.
2K22. Yeah,
it's your only chance to work.
We're gonna make you work.
Yeah, and I'll get fucked up like I would in real life. No, be good.
But it's fantasy wrestling. It's you can create yourself like a beast. You don't have to be your size and everything. You can be huge.
Put Doc's head on Brock Lesnar's body.
That'll work.
All right, everybody. This has been the WrestleSense podcast.
Peace.
See you guys next week. Later.